Hi everyone, I'm Sharon, and today I've got a fantastic guest with me on the Resilience podcast. It's James Perryman. Hi James.
Hey Sharon, how you doing?
I'm really good, thank you. So
Good.
Listeners, James is he's an amazing person to work with. I've had the pleasure of working with him several times. He's got a lot of passion for customer experience, leadership, coaching. So yeah, hit him up if you need some help. Me first, obviously, but do
Close second.
Yeah, so tell us a bit about your consultancy and what your kind of speciality is before we dive into the resilience side of things.
Of course. So my consultancy is called Momentus, and it's all about helping people find their moment. And that could be individuals who are in the middle of their career, they're lost, they haven't got to the place where they wanted to be, and they're a bit confused as to why. It could be businesses, particularly that customer experience angle, who they just don't know why customers are leaving them in the masses. They don't know why they're not making the money that they want to be making. They don't know why they're not getting satisfaction scores that put them through the roof and make them stand out. And it's about creating that moment, that light bulb moment we all get, where we suddenly see it and we think, I know what it takes. I know what I've got to do. I know what my business has to do. And I kind of want it to be that they remember us doing that journey together. That's where the moment and the us comes together with Momentous. So this is year 6 now of being a freelance consultant. What a 6 years it's been, even taking into account the last 18 months. But what I do is offer a mix of training services, one-to-one coaching, or consultancy to help individuals and businesses get their moment.
Perfect. I love that, because CX is all about moments, isn't it, really?
100%.
And relationships. Okay, so you've offered to come on and chat about resilience, and this is the very first one, actually. And listening to your story, you kindly shared with me the story about kind of working incredibly hard and then reaching a point where just all got too much and what you had to do differently. So kind of over to you, really, just to kind of share some of those things and the learnings that you took from it, because as I know, as we've discussed, I'm doing a lot of stuff in the resilience sort of area now, and I have my view, but everyone is very different, and it was enlightening for me listening to your story, and hopefully it'll be the same for those listening. So thank you, James. Please go ahead and share.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so take yourself back to a younger version of James. We're talking 15 years ago plus, maybe a bit more, maybe 18 years ago. And so I was almost my ideal client. I was in the middle of trying to progress my career. I lived down in Kent at the time, working for O2, who obviously kind of spread all over the UK. So I spent most of my week living out of a suitcase, kind of leaving first thing Monday morning, coming back Thursday. And that suitcase would travel to London, to Slough, to Glasgow, to kind of Runcorn, Liverpool area, everywhere in between. And as I said, I was in the middle of my career, so I was quite ambitious then. I wanted to be seen, I wanted to be recognised, and naively assumed I had to say yes to everything and be everywhere, be in front of everyone for that to happen. I didn't know any different. So that was what I was doing. And it was even to the extent where I would be working those 4 days away from home. I would come back Thursday evening, I would have a bite to eat, I'd then go and do training with my football team, come back, shower, and then work all through Thursday night. Literally, I'd taken on so much work and was under this belief that I had to do it and I had to meet my deliverables. So I'd work all through Thursday night with coffees, Red Bulls, MTV based on in the background, and then try and work on Friday. You can imagine how unproductive that would have been, but I couldn't see it at the time. So I sustained this for months, and it turned out it was the end of whatever year it was, going back kind of 18, 19 years, and it was Christmas, and I was with my dad, and I walked past him, and he kind of grabbed my collar, and he said, "Come here a minute, son." And he pulled the collar back, and he could see this rash down the back of my back. And he said, "That doesn't look good. That doesn't look healthy. How long have you had that there for?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I can't see it. It's behind me."
Yeah.
He said, well, I think you should go and see a doctor. You know, you've got this irritating cough that I keep telling you is irritating, and you keep saying it's irritating you. I just think you should go and talk to a doctor about it. So dads know best, so I did. I went to the doctor kind of in the new year, and we talked about kind of home life, work life, etc. And the words I used to the doctor, which they don't haunt me to this day, they actually, I think they almost helped define me at the time, and they're a good go back to if ever things slip, was that I'm riding a wave. I'm riding this wave of, traveling everywhere, doing lots of work, I'm buzzing. And the doctor said, you probably are, but that wave has just crashed. And it could have crashed in two ways, physically or mentally. And for you, it's crashed physically. So that rash on the back of your neck is psoriasis. And he said that the interesting thing you'll find now that you've been aware of it, and it's the start of it, you'll probably find it comes on massively. It will be everywhere.
Right.
And he wasn't wrong. I was head to toe in psoriasis within about 4 weeks. And there began my change. I really had to start transforming myself mentally and physically. It wasn't just about getting rid of the psoriasis and what that took. It was about having a whole different outlook on life.
It's interesting because often when you think about burnout and stuff like that, you think about exhaustion and kind of like overwhelm. But I think you're the first person I've spoken to who's gone, there was actual, like, my body was physically showing me warning signs. At the back of the neck, not altogether very helpful, but going, stop, I need you to stop. And I'm sure mentally there was some other stuff going on as well, but as you say, you just kind of went, look, I can do this, and push through. And so your body just went, okay, you need more signs.
Yes,
stop, James.
Clearly not listening.
Yeah, really interesting. It was good that your dad was able to see that. And what do you think would have happened if do you think it just would have? Yeah,
it's hard to. Probably I would have had more of the physical signs in the front of my body and my arms and legs, which would have, a month down the line, I'd have probably seen that. But I guess the thing is also, I've worked with people who have suffered from mental illness, and maybe that would have happened. Maybe the suddenly seeing the psoriasis could have, triggered something else as well. We just don't know. But I think it happened at the right time for me to really stop and take stock of everything. And I couldn't do it on my own. That opened my world to coaching as well, being on the receiving end of coaching, which I think is where I really saw the power of it, and just started to slowly explore my own journey of, could I be a coach? Is that the skills that someone used with me? Is that something I can do? Is that something I want to do?
What changes did you put in place?
So most immediately there were changes to deal with the psoriasis. So that was giving up being a casual smoker, cutting out alcohol, shellfish, spicy food, a whole list of things that was basically, if you want your healing to accelerate, stop doing these. Excuse me. So I did that. Had acupuncture, which was interesting, once a week. That's quite an experience, laying still with probably the best part of 50 needles in your body, being twiddled every now and again. And the interesting thing with that was that normally acupuncture works by tapping into your veins and it helping with your blood flow. That wasn't working with me. What they actually had to do was put the needles where the rashes were and go at it that way. They said every now and again this happens and it's fine. It's unusual, but we can work with it. So I think I had 3 months of acupuncture and it cleared up. So I could slowly decide what to bring back in terms of alcohol or foods and that kind of thing. But it certainly that changed a lot. But I think the biggest change was my approach to my whole work ethic, my personal development, and really getting a sense of kind of right and wrong. I love the phrase, "Is it worth dying in a ditch for?" And that almost became my thing. I'd look at a decision that needed making or a situation in front of me and think, do I really need to worry myself with this?
I've actually heard you say that. I've heard you say it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. But it's so true. Certainly when you you stop and you think, right, I know what these bad habits, these bad behaviors have left me with and have caused. So do I need to do that now? And as I said, I had a coach who was helping me think about how I really could progress my personal development. And the answer wasn't take on loads more work. It was be really clear on what I wanted to achieve, which is a whole other thing around goal setting and breaking that down. But, you know, where do I want to be? What do I want to be doing? Where do I work at my best? So what environment do I need to be in? And that's not necessarily, you know, the physical work environment, but am I in an environment where I can be creative, plan for, analytical, with other people to fuel my extrovert nature? You know, what are those things that would almost be my ideal situation? So when I had those in place and was starting to work towards those and let them kind of help me develop and progress my career, then yeah, when those things came up that needed some thought and decision, suddenly it became really easy to decide whether it was something that needed a lot of deliberation or none whatsoever. And that then filtered through to my personal life as well. I found I could be going around the supermarket, or I could be talking with friends, and something would come up, and or there'd be a choice of cereals that I wanted in Tesco's, and I just think, this isn't a decision that needs a lot of thought. I'll just grab that one, and if it's the wrong one, I'll have another one next time. And it just changed things. It really helped me just segregate what's important, what do I need to focus on, what isn't, let it take care of itself, and just believe in a bigger goal as well. Believe, you know, have belief in what I could accomplish in my career, have that support of a coach, the changes I put in place, and just to know that I wouldn't see the results immediately. I wasn't going to suddenly get a promotion in a month or a pay rise in 2 months. I actually just had to play a longer game, and it paid off. You know, I got better, I got healthier. Psoriasis went. I think I became a better human being for me and for other people as well. But my career changed as well. It opened me up to things that I loved doing. Kind of, you know, that world of people change, organizational change, customer impact. Yeah, so then the second half of my career after that was a whole different story, just so different. And I think then ultimately that set me up for walking away from corporate life 6 years ago and doing my own thing.
Setting up on your own. Yeah, interesting how that impact and the challenge of it managed to turn into a whole silver lining of a brand new career that you know, clearly excel at and really enjoy, and have been able to make a difference to other people. You mentioned that you weren't doing this on your own, so you've got a coach, and obviously your dad was kind of there as well. Did you bolster your support system in any other way?
Yeah, I did. One of the things I learned was about having the right network of people around me. So, and it's something I talk about, you know, these days with people in networking groups and so on, about setting a goal, you know what I want to accomplish, breaking that down into small steps, and then saying, so who do I need around me to do that? Because a coach is there to ask the questions that I already know the answers to. They're just helping me unearth them. Yeah. You know, as you said, my dad was there as a good support, and someone I think, you know, in the right position in life to be able to say, you should stop doing that, you should do that, I'm proud of you for this, I'm not so proud of you for that. But what I needed to do was think, who do I need around me to help me accomplish those goals? And that would be personally and professionally. So, you know, as well as a coach, did I actually need someone to maybe coach me, maybe mentor me in a specific area of the business that I wanted to move into, so that they could educate me, they could enlighten me, but also it meant I was the front of their mind, maybe when an opportunity came up or there were changes, and they'd think, I know James wants to move into this area. Also to think about, who do I aspire to? You know, what leaders in the business do I see and think, I love the gravitas you have, the impact you make. That's where I want to head. So help me understand, you know, what was your journey to get there? Help me realize that actually you didn't work Monday to Thursday and all through Thursday night and act like an idiot. There is another way of doing this. But also, you know, from a personal perspective, I think just making sure that I had the right support around me. It's easy to, well, I think when you, in hindsight, it's easy to look and think, I've actually got people in my life who are quite negative, who bring a lot of negative energy, and they're actually not necessarily they're in my way, and I've got to kind of step on them and push them aside, but I've got to take them for what they are and realize that actually maybe I need them in smaller doses, maybe I don't need them at all, and maybe I need more positive people. And that's where, you know, kind of my best friend, that's kind of where I met my now best friend. Ironically, we're 1 day apart in age, you know, to the day. He's 1 day before me. We've got similar backgrounds, similar childhoods, you know, so we're so alike. And we might, you know, even now we don't talk for or see each other for maybe 6-7 months in person, but when we do, we just pick up. You know, he's proper best friend material, and he was what I needed at the time to, you know, to be that one, a bit like my dad, but to be that person who would say, James, I think, you know, should you be doing that? Is that right decision to make? And hold the mirror up and say, you seem happier, you seem healthier, or when you don't, you know, you seem stressed, you seem short, you seem like you're biting at people, and to be really honest with me about it.
And that honesty is so important, isn't it? I totally agree with you there. My best friend, Nahida, I mean, I've got this, I happen to have this box next to me actually, but she sent it through the post to me just this week. And she sent like things to help me sleep. She sent me some iron tablets just to go, Sharon, I can see that you are just getting a bit too stressed. I can see, and I want you to start taking care of yourself. And having someone in your life, in your support system, I'm lucky because I've got more than one person who does that for me. Just to really just kind of go, as you say, hold the mirror up and just go, should you be doing this? You can't be Superman, Superwoman to everybody. And what struck me when you were saying about kind of the, you know, the negative, more negative people in your life, sometimes it's that those aren't my monkeys, isn't it? It's that kind of like, right, I can get involved. I do care, especially when you're empathetic. It's easy to go, oh, do you know what? I can see how to help there, or, you know, it's easy for me to say yes and try and, you know, get in the middle and try and sort it all out. But actually, that's not my monkey. I've got enough going on of my own, and trying to be everything to everybody just is going to hurt me and others in the end, because I'm spreading myself so thin. And that's tough. That's a tough prioritization thing to do, especially if that more negative person is your close family or someone who's always kind of been in your life and relies on you.
And spreading, you know, that was probably part of my downfall at the time, was spreading myself too thinly, saying yes to everything. And it's so easy to do, as you know, as people, you know, who like to say yes, who like to help out. It's, you look and think, I'll do that, and you know, I can take that role on, you know, it's just something on the side. But suddenly it all adds up, and and I don't think it's a corporate life thing. It's about your personality and who you are, and being self-aware, which is something I've really explored. So I know when I'm doing it, even over the last couple of years with captaining a rugby team, doing kind of voluntary work with local school, it's stuff I want to do, it's stuff I want to get involved in, but suddenly you're aware that actually I'm doing a lot of stuff, and I'm tired, and I'm feeling resentful about people and things, and I shouldn't be. So, you know, I've worked hard over the last 6 months to taken advantage of what's happened with things not being able to take place, to stop being spread so thin, and actually just get my focus back on a few core things that I know I really enjoy. They're rewarding in all senses, and they bring me good energy, and I enjoy doing them. I don't you know, stop and think, oh, I don't want to do this, because then what's the point in doing it?
Absolutely, life is short, isn't it? So if you have a particular bad day, particularly bad week, what kind of things do you do to help lift you out of that funk? What's in your toolbox?
What's in my toolbox? One is, well, if we take the last 18 months aside, in because that's just kind of, it stopped some of it, but playing rugby, captaining rugby, that was a great way to get that release, just to go training. You know, it's not the same as a full-on match, but it's, you know, you've got big guys twice my size there with pads running at me. That's a great way to let out a bit of aggression, or run at them, and then playing a match. So kind of sport is a thing. Go to the gym as well, and kind of I try and go first thing in the morning, so it gets it done, but it sets me up as well. I know when I'm having one of those weeks, I think the one advantage of having had psoriasis is knowing that it can come back at any point. So apparently we all have it in us. It just may never materialize. But when it does, you've almost like it puts your inner alert system on level 2. So when you just get the slight kind of scratch on the head, a little itch, or on your arm or something, I read it as a little telltale sign that I'm pushing myself too far. And that's my sign to step back and say, right, what do? I look at my calendar. What have I got next week? Have I got a week crammed with stuff that isn't going to happen? I'm just going to get to the end of every day and feel that I'm behind. I'm not ready for the next day. So I can do something about that right now. I can move stuff. I can delegate it, remove it, put it somewhere else, re-diarize it, whatever. So I make sure I've given myself a break right from the outset, so I don't go into the following week. I write lists, simple little thing, but getting stuff out of your head onto a bit of paper, great way of emptying the brain. Listen to music, watch comedy videos, listen to podcasts. Obviously yours is going to become first in my list now, but currently it's the High Performance Podcast by Damien Hughes and Jake Humphries, which it's great because it is kind of business orientated. Sometimes they have sports stars on there, actors, whoever it is, but it's people who have reached a high level of performance, and it just talks about what did it take to get there. And when you hear people's stories about how they were down and out, it was, all they could see was the end, or their business went wrong, or they didn't win the gold medal at the Olympics, and how they overcame that. It's really nice just to hear other people's stories and just think, you know what, I'm not on my own, and as you say, I'm not Superman, but there's actually things I can do, habits I can bring into my life, people I can bring into my life, people who are in my life that I can just get back in touch with to just help refocus me and bring me back up. But yeah, I think it's the trick for me is making sure there's time to do that. Can't do any of that good stuff if my diary says you've got 15 meetings all day and you're also going to write a presentation and you're also going to do a coaching session. And I've planned for failure if I do that. So the best thing is to plan for success and allow that time to do those other bits.
I think for me as well, because I know that I don't sleep particularly well, I have to be careful around that too. So that factor is an additional one, as well as not having too much in my diary. I have to make sure it's not too early in my diary, because I'm a zombie at 8 o'clock in the morning for these early birds. They were like, Sharon, let's do an early one. And I'm like, well, we can, but you won't get much from me. So I'm a bit, I do similar to you in approach in terms of making sure it's not too much, but also kind of going, right, where's the good bits? So as you say, you can have back to back, 15, whatever it is, meetings, great, I'm really busy, there's a buzz, but actually if it's just, I said to you earlier on a cybersecurity one, it was quite a fun meeting as it turned out, but actually, you have stuff in your diary all day long that drains you. That's the same sort of thing, isn't it? It just sucks all the life out of you, and you get to the end of the day and you're just like, and I've got to do all this again tomorrow. So it's not just making sure you've got gaps in your diary or appropriate gaps at the right time for your body clock, also making sure some fun stuff in there and some supportive stuff. Like you said, you're an extrovert, same as me. I spent a lot of time in these sort of very flimsy four walls, and I really enjoy podcasts because although I kind of get a bit of interaction, and as extroverts we do need that kind of that human kind of touch point, don't we? The same as if you're an introvert, you need the space and the quiet. So absolutely, it's planning your future diary around what you need, as well as just I remember, like when somebody says, oh well, my diary's open, just put stuff in anywhere, I always think, is that the right thing? Because I don't think it is. I'd much rather go have a look through and go, well, I've got planned for that, and I need headspace there, and planning futures is good.
And I literally at the end of every week I go through my calendar for the next 2 weeks, so I'm always 2 weeks ahead, but it means something else has come up, an urgent request for a bit of work, or I just need the time out, and I think, you know what, I just need an afternoon off or a day off, to do whatever, go and play golf, go shopping, then I can plan where that is and put it in, and don't end up triple parking myself with a meeting somewhere and a call somewhere that clearly won't happen. So you know, that's just a habit I get into. I do that, and I think it's also, you talked around, you know, where your energy is in the day and that whole circadian rhythm, you know, which is kind of different to each of us. I think I talk about that with people in some of the training I do, is just make a note of it over a couple of weeks. Find where your energy is high and low. Look back. Was it because of meetings you had, people you spent time with that affected your energy, you know, other stuff going on, that you'll get a feel for it. And therefore, as you said, plan in the time you need to recuperate. But do it for you. One of the things I looked long and hard at when I was coming out with psoriasis was about having regular exercise, and I would beat myself up that I had to do a specific type of exercise regularly. So would it be my gym 4 days a week? Would it be football team however many days a week? And the best bit of advice I got was, don't think of it of a specific thing. Just think, I want to do exercise, let's say every day. And if I'm in a hotel, it's going to be in the hotel gym, or maybe it's in the hotel room doing push-ups and sit-ups and whatever. Maybe it's going for a walk, going for a swim. It might be rugby training, but my boxes need to be ticked by saying I've done something. It doesn't have to be a specific thing. And do it when my energy is right, because there's lots of stories of whether your muscles are more relaxed first thing in the morning or the end of the day, you know, if you are kind of doing gym and that kind of thing. So my answer to that was, there is no right answer from a physical perspective. So the best thing is, when is it going to be best up here? And I know if I try and go to the gym at 5 o'clock, I get to 4, half 4, this level of nervousness kicks in about, right, I've got to wrap up stuff, I've got to get there, will it be busy? What if I can't get on the machines I want? So should I go for a run? Oh, the weather's a bit crap, I don't know if I want to run. And I overthink it. I completely overthink it, and it doesn't happen. Whereas if the alarm goes off at 6 in the morning, if I can just do that 10-second thing of getting up out of bed, and I've already got my stuff ready, it happens. I'll go to the gym. I'll be there at 6:10. And it's, yes, it might be busy, but I'm there and doing it. And I feel so much better for that come 7:30, when I'm having a nice healthy breakfast, having a shower, taking it easy, starting work at whatever time, 8:30, 9. My day is set up to be successful all the way through, rather than starting first thing working and then getting towards the end of the day and starting to feel nervous and worrying about, will I exercise, will I not, what excuse am I coming up with, and all that kind of rubbish.
Yeah, I totally get I'll get you there on the excuses. I do the same for being outside. So because I'll be, you know, I've said that I like to be around people, etc. But I find it very easy just to stay in the house all day long. There's plenty of things I can do in the house. Most of the time I'm sat in front of a computer, as you are.
Yeah.
And I'm the same. Like, sometimes I say to myself, oh, I feel a bit, ugh. I think, well, have I been outside in the sunshine? Have I been for a walk? You know, have I drunk enough today? Have I hydrated myself? Have I done some of the basic things that I need as a human? Quite often, no, I haven't. I've just been grabbing stuff as I've been typing and running around and answering phone calls and trying to stop the dog barking when I'm on a podcast. You know, all those kind of things. And you sometimes think, well, if you looked after a child, you really look after them and think, oh, they haven't had a drink for an hour, let me go and sort them out. But actually, for you, and then we wonder why we crash, or why we're not our most resilient. And sometimes we just haven't done the basic. That's what I've been focusing on lately.
Yeah, listening to your body is just, that's the one kind of a big thing I learned from having gone through that kind of breakdown was, you know, when your body feels a little bit itchy, it's saying, I'm a little bit anxious about something. When your energy is low, I know that if I leave it too long, I'll have a real dip in energy and I need to eat something. Eat the smallest of things, you know, just one little chunk of chocolate or a third of a banana, something. But, you know, I think that's one of the best things I've learned how to do. And equally, when your body says, I don't want to go to the gym, I'm tired, fine, don't, have a week off, let your body just recuperate, it's good for you. But you only know that by just stopping and listening, you know, as they say, listening to what your body says, how it feels. But it takes practice. It takes practice and, you know, self-awareness, emotional intelligence. That's probably, from a more intellectual level, that's probably the other great thing that came out of what I went through, of just understanding me, how I manage myself, my emotions, the impact that has on other people, how I think about that in advance, how I think about it in the moment, and so on.
Are there any tips just before we close that you'd give to anyone listening who's kind of reaching that point of going, oh, so I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed? You talked through lots of ones here, but if there was one key takeaway, what would it be?
The key thing for me is, and it's hard to hear at the time because you're on this journey that's taking you at 400 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You need to just stop. And it doesn't mean the journey ends. You're on this endless journey that's going nowhere, and you're feeling the effects of it. Stop and take stock, and use someone if you can. Use someone to help you take stock. And I use an exercise for people called the Circle of Life, where we just look at 8 key things that we use to determine our life. From an emotional perspective, physical, financial, job, religion, relationships, whatever it might be, and take stock by saying, where is it today from 0 to 10? Honestly and truthfully, where is it? And where do you want it to be? And that process helps you identify the 2 or 3 things that are most important to you. So then when you get back on your journey, it doesn't have to be at 400 miles an hour. It can be at 50 miles an hour, but you've got the right people in your cart with you. You're heading in a slightly different direction, but it's a direction that you know where you want to go in, not because you just kind of think you need to go in.
Yeah.
And it's just worth that stop. But you can only do that by pausing and having the bravery to pause and stop and just say, right, something isn't right. I've got to analyze it. I've got to step back and look at it.
I think there's a big fear sometimes that you're going to let everybody down. I can't stop because I'll let everybody down. I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do this, I've got to do that.
Yeah.
And it's, sometimes you've got to go, well, as you say, is it worth dying in a ditch over? Is it worth, like, if they're let down just this once and I have to ring them and say, I'm really sorry, is that the end of the world? It's not going to, it's, we're probably going to feel worse than they are most of the time, because we put that much pressure on ourselves to deliver. And
it's kind of, what's the worst that can happen? What if I didn't go in tomorrow because I need a rest day? Really is, unless I'm a doctor or a nurse or someone where that I'm needed for some really important reasons. But what if I didn't happen to turn my laptop on and read through my emails and develop a training course? What if I left it for one day? Really?
Brilliant. Thank you so much, James. That was really, really interesting. How can we get hold of you if people want to look you up? Where's the best place?
You can find me on LinkedIn. There's not too many James Perryman, certainly none others look like me. So you'll see me on my profile, or head to the Momentus website, which is momentus, as one word, .uk.com. And you can find out more about kind of what I do and get in touch from there.
Perfect. Thank you very much, James. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you for sharing your story. It's been really insightful.
Thanks for inviting me, Sharon.
Thank you very much. Talk to you soon. Take care.
Indeed. Take care. Bye.